So, hello everyone, let's talk about the hardest to easiest boss of course in Elden Ring, the DLC. And let's be honest, they're all pretty easy, you get good guys. Seriously though, this list here, I decided to have only a few options. So basically, we have all the bosses down here, right? And we got only 4 categories. Unfair, BS, depends who that is. Fair, which is, okay, this boss actually is kind of reasonable, right? Git good, you suck, okay, the boss is easy, you suck. And of course, the bosses are just complete pushovers. I think there are a few bosses, you enter the boss and you just kill the boss. Like seriously, yeah, there's some bosses I killed in attempt 1, where I'm just like, is this supposed to be a boss somewhere? I think it's important to understand how difficult the boss actually are in Elden Ring. So we have stuff that is unfair BS, right? Unfair BS is, no, this actually isn't a hard or an easy boss or whatever. It's just bullshit, right? The boss is flying around, he's doing cartwheels and teleporting and flip-flapping, and it's more like tedious, right? The boss isn't hard, it's just like, no, this is just boring. Well, it's, yeah. Those bosses are very hard, but usually not actually good game design, right? Then you have the fair bosses, which are hard, but, they're fair, right? That's the perfect game design. The boss is hard, but you understand how the boss works, and eventually you beat it, right? Then we have the bosses that are actually really easy, and you, the player, you just suck if you lose to the boss. You're just a terrible video gamer, right? You're just a terrible gamer. Like I said about the last boss, that boss is green, man. Get good, you suck, man. You try to build, right? And again, you have the easiest thing, which is like, oh, this is super easy mode. The boss dies in one combo. Like, what is this? Is it that on the boss area? Like Romina, you enter the boss, kill immediately. You're like, where's this boss count? But anyway, let's go into. So if you like the video, guys, please subscribe, press the like button right. I'll do a lot of tier list videos. Links below for the previous ones, like Baldur's Gate 3, FF7, and whatever. I like to do tier lists, especially when it comes to different, builds and strategies or classes or so on, right? But also sometimes bosses and, whatever. But anyway, so first of all, we have all the characters here, right? All the bosses. And as I see immediately, in all of my tier lists, I don't really care about the order, like when you fight the boss or whatever. It's more important for me to discuss the super easy boss or super hard boss, right? Because every time you make a tier list, I think it's much easier to say, well, this is the hardest boss in the game. This boss is freaking impossible, right? And then you say, oh, this boss is very easy. And then, the other bosses, you kind of get in the middle, right? But it's much easier to say, what is the hardest thing? Or if you do like a character tier list, oh, this is the best character, and this is the worst character, yeah. So let's start with that, right? We're starting with the best Ergo in this case, and the hardest, most unfair beat. Let's start with a boss that is unfair. I think it's Bayle. Yeah, Bayle, a hard boss. He definitely unfair BS. So, yeah, I think Bayle almost might win this thing. So, Bayle, of course, is the final dragon in the game. Story-wise, he exists, I guess. There's no point actually fitting the boss. But Bayle is just, I don't think it's that hard, but he's just kind of weird, He's a giant dragon that has huge amount of like unblockable stuff that you have to just roll all the time. You can't dodge more stuff. The summoning on Bayle is the worst shit though. I think that my real problem with Bayle is that he is hyper aggressive, right? There's one issue in this game, seriously, is that bosses are just hyper aggressive. As soon as you enter the door, he flies at you in your face, right? So Bayle feels very, very unfair, because he just dives you immediately, he smacks you immediately, right? And also annoying with Bayle is that you have to summon Igor, right, the quest guy, inside of the room for some reason. On every other boss, right, the last boss in the game, you can summon Tolid or someone, right? Sir Ansparsson, outside the boss room, right? Every other boss in the game, except, Mesmer too, yeah, Mesmer and Bayle, they have to summon them inside the boss room for some reason. Everyone else outside, right? And Bayle is so, again, hyper aggressive that, seriously, most of my deaths on Bayle were because I'm entering the room trying to summon Igor, and Bayle is like, let this door be, yeah, and you're like, what the hell happened? Like when I'm pressing the button to summon, I'm dead before I press the button, right? And the game has an issue, I think, massively with that. Of course, every time you summon, it's always like, should you summon, yes or no? The default thing is no. Same thing with your horse, right? I want it when I press the button to, summon Torrent and pay 1 flask for that, which is dead. There should be yes immediately. There shouldn't be no and then have to press left. It's really stupid. It takes another extra second to kind of press that right. So Bayle's unfair because the summoning shit is terrible. that honestly is pretty meh. And otherwise, yeah, he does a lot of weird stuff, flies around, there's so many abilities. And I don't know, I don't think he actually is a very good boss encounter, honestly. He looks cool. I like his design, he looks badass, so right? But when he actually fights you, he's kind of typical, I think, for the dragons mostly. He kind of fly around, right? And he got like 20 different lightning abilities, and then he just flies away from you and shoot lightning at you. And I play as a melee character. I'm just standing there like, okay, fine, he comes back to me, I can hit him. It's just kind of boring, right? You kind of, okay, whatever. And then most of it is unblockable and so on. I don't know. I feel it's unfair. Not a very good boss fight, seriously. Okay, let's do some super easy boss fights. So, what is it? This boss, Chief Bloodfiend, that even counts. I'm just hitting the guy. This is just pushover. Who cares? This thing, I think it's the boss at the ship, right, in the water, yeah, in the blue place. You just meet them up the west, yeah, Cerulean coast, and it's like they're dying like one combo. Yeah, like this is a yoke of a boss. It shouldn't even count as a boss. Completely super easy. Same thing with there is Lamenter. This boss Lamenter is really weird. So Lamenter is the boss in the Gaul, where you learn about the whole living yards or so on. I made a video about that. You learn about that. But this boss is super easy. I defeated the first attempt. It does some weird, like, I mean, honestly, I don't even understand this boss. You enter this boss fight, right, with Lamenter, and he throws this like tiny heads at you, and I guess you die eventually by some curse or something, but I just killed him immediately. Like, I don't even know what he does. It felt like he dotted me, but I took no damage from it all. In fact, he was bugged. I mean, genuinely, this boss felt like he was bugged, because he didn't do any damage to me. He does a lot of cloning, and then I just, whatever, like, it was really weird. Like, seriously, super weird. Sitting here, this is the guy that assassinate you. He actually will respawn, I believe. I think so, yeah. But he's super easy because he's like a hidden, close to this guy. He's hidden in this area, right? But the thing is that because you have the summoning ability, when you enter that area, you know it's going to be a boss there. So you summon your mimic or whatever, right? And then he will attack your summon, because the summon moves around there. And then you can just kill him. So this guy is also like... But it is so stupid, because that's actually... Yeah, this is seriously a fault in the game, right? You know, honestly, yeah. This guy is a bug in the game, basically. Or a bug, but like a... He's a bad game design, honestly. Demi-Human... I believe it's the guy, that's the guy. Because, like I said, because you have the icon, so you know you're in a boss area, right? You know that something is happening. Then you enter that area, and he's hidden. It's supposed to be like an assassin, but because you know that, again, it is a hidden area, so you won't fall for it, you know what I mean? Like, there's the game telling you there's a boss here somewhere, so it doesn't work, right? You know, the game shouldn't allow you to summon there, because the summoning icon ruins the surprise strike. So, it's a boss here. It's really weird. That doesn't work for you, but it's very, very easy. Put a lot of these pushover bosses. What's more pushover? Let's see. Well, this dragon also pushover. This is a bad dragon. I mean, seriously, this dragon is a yoke too, right? This is just not a dragon, okay? Like, at least the other dragon, this one, Senessax, he's like the stronger, lightning dragon. It's like the sister or brother or whatever of Lich Dragon, something like that. Yeah, it's like a sister or something. But this dragon here is just another dragon, right? We met him before. He fights like any other dragon. He does the lightning summoning spell, and he flies around a bit. I beat him in the first attempt. It's just like any other dragon. It's really easy. I mean, the thing is that, like, straight up, when you get this DLC, you probably have played the full first game, and you face all of the dragons. This guy is much easier than the Lich Dragon or someone, of course, in the OG game. So you should. This is either pushover or get good if you fail, because yeah, like this, you shouldn't fail on a boss dragon, which you should know the work already. So he's very easy, and the same thing with Shadow Flame Dragon. This one, which is the first version of the dragon. Exact same thing, right? This also should be a one-turn kill. Same thing there. You're facing like a ghost undead dragon, but how is that hard? It's just the exact same thing, right? Like exact same strategy. It's a dragon. Actually, pretty easier than this dragon, but yeah, it's just another dragon, right? With like an ice breath. Like, you shouldn't lose to this thing by now, because you've beaten 10 other dragons in the pre-DLC, right? And he has like no new abilities. The next dragon does summon undead, and he actually is much harder for that reason. So he's actually much more complicated, because you get like 50 undead after you. But yeah, the first one is very easy. Like, it's just not a dragon. I mean, dragon level 1, right? It's dragon without any really interesting skills, right? But anyway, those are absolute pushovers. This one you should beat them all in the first attempt, I would argue for. What more is actually really, really easy. Like jokingly easy. Surprisingly, and this boss actually kind of bothered me how easy she was. And that is Romina, okay. Romina is just a joke, okay. Romina is either Complete Pushover or GIT GUD. Maybe she's GIT GUD and you suck. Because I heard people dying on this boss. But I would argue that this boss is so easy that it's not even easy mode. This is just like a freebie. But if you struggle her, I guess you have to get good then, because Romina is a joke. I entered Romina and I just beat her the first attempt. I was like, it is a boss, and before I even know her, she was dead. She's so easy. There's this weird, like, flying around her, you know, oh, I'm turning into a centipede or something. But you can easily avoid it. It's the most telegraphed boss probably in the game. Everything she does is so telegraphed. You can always avoid it. Super easy. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, is she like the cousin of the other art people? I don't know. Like, is she cousin with Radagon? I don't know. Is she with Millennia with the Rot? Like, I was more interested in the lore, but she just died immediately. She's much, much easier than Mesmer. Mesmer, of course, is before her, right? I don't have to be before her. But very likely have you defeated Mesmer before you get to Romina. She's just way easier. Scarlet Butterfly Girl, yeah. Rotting Scarlet Butterflies is so easy. But honestly, maybe she's here then. This is the insulting place to be in. Yeah, I don't know, but she is like really easy. But I think it's too easy. It's like a freebie. This is when you're free. Maybe she call it free. Yeah, they're free. This is a complete pushover, or they're free, you know, like I say in video, in fighting games. Yeah, oh yeah, they're free. That didn't work at all. Basically, right? Yeah, these people are free, man. They are so easy. There we go. Weird eye. Yeah, they're free. Okay, this is the more free guys. Those are probably the ones that I think are really, really free. Like, you should defeat the bosses in the first attempt. Unless you're stupid. Oh, the bear was pretty easy. Yeah, the bear also pushover. The bear is probably actually worse than the dragons because it's a goddamn bear, but it's also a very easy encounter. It's also should also be your first attempt. Both the bears are also easy. Should also be yeah, but Lament is probably the most pushover. And but I would say that Romina was easier than the bear though. And this guy's also complete pushover. This is like here somewhere. It's something like that. I definitely struggled more with the dragons. I mean, I still beat them all. All these bosses here, I beat them in the first fight, right? These are one attempt kills, all of them. But yeah, this one is obviously the most disappointing because I remember this boss. So she's obviously the biggest loser of them. But in order, probably something like this. It will be accurate here. The least pushover to the most pushover. But I don't know. It's something else that I haven't. I don't think the Curse Blade Labyrinth really hard either, but... Well, yeah, this dancer is also pushover. Or this dancer is terrible too. So this dancer lady, right? She's one of these many ghost bosses you have. But she's really easy because she does it like one combo. Yeah, at least for me. I had my anvil hammer on her. Dancer on her. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of the boss, right? You hit her once. And then she gets kind of... Her poise immediately breaks. And you just keep punching her with your hammer until she dies. Like, she couldn't move basically, right? She gets like one stun lock from immediately your combo. She has like no life points. I would say she's by far the easiest of these like spirit boss guys. So Raksha, Black Owl, Red Bear, yeah, she's by far the easiest. Extremely much so, I would say. What more is easy? I mean, arguably, I guess, to be fair, this is also very easy, of course. Yeah, we can't forget about that guy, Falling Star. Because, I mean, the thing is with Falling Star, right? Just like the Dragon Star is that, well, obviously, you probably have already defeated 3 Falling Stars before this thing, right? There's nothing new here, I think. I don't think he has a new ability. Not that I saw, at least. This is also yet another, like, well, first attempt defeat, right? Because, yeah. But I also think that Falling Star is an easy boss in the OG game as well, though. It's just this, like, running around. I don't even think he had all the abilities that they have later. But they probably, I feel, the Hippo is also very easy. Hippo is also super easy. Hippo, I also never died in Hippos. They're all like, these are all the first attempt kills here. The Hippo is also very easy. But that's probably said Romina is easier. I don't know, it's like, yeah, but the Hippo is also easier. Right? So you have the Hippos outside, and you should always fight the Hippos. The Hippos give you Scadutree fragments, so always beat the Hippos, right? That's good to do. But it's like, I don't know, the Golden Hippo, I don't think it does anything else. No, it has the Quill Bar, okay, it's true. It does summon that Quill Bar spell you get from it, but yeah, that's it, and you basically avoid that. Like, I did this one also one attempt. I didn't die here at once. Like I said, every boss, like I said, everything down in this list here, right, are all bosses that I killed in my first attempt, right? That's why I see them as free complete pushover. The bears are just an easier bear boss, you know how they work, right? The dragons are easy, old dragons, you know how they work. Falling Star, the hip boss are just like the hip enemies outside with one more ability or something like that, but super easy. Romina is an absolute yoke, right? Massive yoke. She really is a massive yoke. Because she looks like a really cool boss, but she's a complete yoke. And then these really weird, like, dungeon bosses that are, like, super easy. No, that's also another one. Oh, yeah, this is also another one. This is the one that they both Demi-Human Queen Marigga. Yeah, her and she Bloodfiend, they're both complete free. Yeah, this is another one. Free, super free. These are both uber free. And I guess 3 Sentinel also is pretty free. This is basically a boss though. I know they have a boss beater, but these guys are bad, not bad at count. I had to say they're easier than harder than Lamenter though. Lamenter was an utter yoke, so he's like the probably easiest boss in the game. This is something like that probably. Actually, this is probably harder than that thing. I would probably put that here. Yeah, but they're also like super easy. And you can fight them 1-on-1. That kind of concludes honestly the first half of the list. It's like you scrubs. They aren't even in GIT GUD. If you're failing on these bosses, deinstall your game, seriously. No, but like, come on, these are all super easy. All of these guys, I of course killed attempt 1. These are not real bosses, man. Actually, this Black Knight is pretty easy too. The Black Knight Erdredd Garrew. I also killed this boss the first attempt too, actually. Ancient Dragon Man, also very easy. Yeah, whatever. Sweet. He's also in the bottom here. These are all terrible easy bosses. He's like over here. But these are all massive pushovers. There are a bunch of yokes, man. They're so incredibly easy. These are all, you should defeat them in your first attempt. Straight up. I would even go as far and say that the Black Knight. Well, actually, Count Ymir, this guy, I don't even know what he does. I don't even know what Count Ymir does, okay? I don't know if people struggle. I mean, I'm being serious here. I do not know how people are struggling in this game. Count Ymir, I heard people dying in the boss. I don't even know what he does, okay? Count Ymir, obviously the hand storyline, and he's obviously also the mother hand or whatever, right? So it's the boss before him, which is the mother hand. This thing, right? Metyr, the mother hand. But, like, after you defeat Metyr, you go up and you defeat Ymir instead, or her name, whatever, right? And he just died, okay? I just killed him in one combo. He transforms, or something like that, I don't know. I just kept punching him with my anvil and he died. He didn't even hurt me. I don't even know what he did. It's harder afterward, because when you defeat him, then you fight Yolland, right? Or at the same time. I don't even remember when Yolland appears. When did you fight her? You fight her sister in the bottom, underneath Ymir, and then when you get back up. Oh yeah, no. First you have to fight Yolland, right, and then he spawns. Oh, that's true. Okay, so she's a little harder. You know what? I don't know. He's a complete yoke. I killed this guy in one combo. He has everything yoke. But I'm guessing that this thing here counts for Yolland being part of that. And honestly, let's put them in fair then, because Yolland isn't super pushover. She's actually somewhat of a little bit of fight, and he's a complete yoke. But you have to, it's like a two-faced boss fight, I guess. So let's put Ymir up there then. But it's a little bit weird, because him as a boss is just the biggest yoke ever. He's like, oh yeah, you punch him when he comes from you and you just kill him. Like, he's super easy. But that's true. She appears before you have to fight him, I believe. That basically concludes all the freebies, okay? And the more interesting bosses. I mean, honestly, right, the bosses that are too easy, they are not interesting, right? Because if you don't die in the boss, how memorable is it? I can't Ymir. I don't even know what he can do, right? It's not very memorable. I mean, honestly, I have no idea what he does. He can transform, I think. And he summons. I think he summoned like a finger, hand. I mean, like, I genuinely killed him in like 2 combos. Yeah, I just punched him with my combo. Then I just get up and I punch him again and he died. And I think he summoned like a hand. Like, seriously, I don't even know what the boss does. That's the easiest. Like, and I mean, I'm not making a joke, okay? I mean, seriously, I have no idea what the boss does, really. That's how easy it is. Just keep punching him. Seriously. I was thinking about another boss. The definitely should be an unfair, and that's Furnace Golem. Okay, so Furnace Golems, this is a perfect example of an unfair boss, right? So, I hate Furnace Golems because they are just a terrible, terrible game design. in a general standpoint, I don't mind them. Similar to like, for example, Zelda, when you have these like robots that you can't hit in the beginning, right? Shoot laser beams at you in Pieces of the Kingdom. And they kind of do the same thing. They kind of walk around, you know, the many furnace golems, and they attack you when you move around. And that's fine. But fighting the furnace golem is really, really annoying, right? To actually fight them is super annoying if you fight them, I know, normally. That's what I mean that they're unfair BS, right? They're really, really unfair. They probably are the worst designed enemy in the game with that furnace golem, because think about it, you either have the pot thing that you throw into them, right? Or you have like the items, and you get the visage thing, and you make the item, and you craft and you throw it into them. You either have that, then they're completely easy. It's like insta-kill, you throw shit in, punch them once, and you're dead, basically, right? So they're either completely super easy, free, right? They're either down here in the bottom tier of bullshit easy bosses, right? Or they are basically almost impossible to beat them with normal weapons. Yeah, it's super annoying. At least if you play like I do, like a melee character. Super annoying. I beat one of them without getting any gear for it. That was super annoying, yeah, on the horseback, in and forth. You can do it, don't get me wrong, you can do it, especially if you're on a turret, right? You ride in, you know, back and forth, right? But, end of the day, this is a very good example of an unfair bullshit boss, right? Because, like I said, either you have the correct item, right? And then it's too easy, then it's like, you know, super easy. Or it's kind of not too hard, but like tediously hard. Because, yeah, they're not even hard either. They're not hard in the sense that, oh, it's so complicated. No, you have to basically be in the horse, ride in, punch them a few times, run out again, and, you know, repeat the first one. Yeah, definitely. Not more than that. Avoid the flame circle thing. Yeah, like, it's not that they kind of have like a storm fire as you have to run out of it. It's much harder if you have to be at the horse, I guess. But you get my point. They're not that hard. They're tedious, right? Or then they're super easy to have the correct item. And that's what I mean. It's unfair, because it's either way, it doesn't feel like a real boss fight, to be honest, though. Because it's like more a mechanical thing. You have to defeat it by a certain item, and if you have the key item, you just win automatically. It's really weird. It's very strange. The first one drops you the Sekiro parrying, so you can block better. Yeah, it's very important in defeating the first one. The other ones, honestly, I haven't defeated all 8. I think there are 8 of them. I haven't killed all 8 of them. I didn't bother. There's also one you have to activate to get one of those spells. It's standing in the ray of a ruin, but you can actually move around it. So I didn't kill that one because I just jumped on the castle instead. But whatever, even point. Furnace golems are very unfair. Like I said, that one that you should awaken for that quest, right? I didn't even do it. Yeah, I kind of cheesed it and just walked past it. I was like, I don't know, I'm part of this thing. Yeah, I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna, you know, ignore it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not very good example of unfair BS. And actually probably more than Bayle, honestly. Yeah, there's probably the most unfair BS in the game. Now, let's go on. Now, this was here, Yuri, which is like a Inquisitor dude. He's probably just fair, yeah. This is a boss that is probably straight up fair. This boss, I'm not saying the boss is hard, he really isn't. But this boss is like, you enter the, what's called, the maddening flame dudes, right? You have these maddening guys, they have their like little different fire medics, right? They have like the fire medics, and he's basically like their leader, so he has a bunch of cool spells. But this boss is pretty straightforward. He has a bunch of cool magic that you have to avoid. He can summon a bunch of other like Inquisitor dudes so they can fight you and so on. He's not very hard. I think I died there once, which was fairly unlucky, but I died there once. So he's not super hard, but he's like an interesting boss fight. He has a bunch of mechanics, but they don't feel really unfair. He basically is like a really powerful magician enemy. I feel he's like a good example of fair. He's an interesting boss. He has summons. Yeah, he could have more life points. Honestly, he could have been harder, I would say. But he feels like he's fair. He's like a decent boss. Yeah, like he doesn't have too much going on there. I think that Raksha is also a fair boss. This is like a dual two-hand. Is he the hardest ghost guy? I wouldn't say so. I think Red Bear is probably harder than him. But yeah, honestly, just put Red Bear up there too. I think they're basically kind of the same. So this is one that you enter this chapel, right? You go down into it, and you get this like, you know, dual fight, right? We have the dancer in the bottom. You see here with my hand over because she's super easy. Yeah, up there. Because she's just like one combo, she's dead, right? These two are the more tedious. But Red Bear, he's basically the guy that has all the, he has the beer loot, and then he has the roar from the beer and so on. But yeah, he's not super hard, but he's not terribly easy either. You have to avoid his like combos, you have to avoid his howl. I died here like a few times, 2-3 times, but you know, he doesn't feel very hard, but not very easy either. So I think he's like again a fair, like in the middle kind of guy. Rakshaha, same thing there. He does this like really annoying combo. He also feels pretty fair, and I think that the first one that you face when you enter, he's kind of the same. Yeah, the black gold guy. You know, yeah, kind of the same. Yes, his attack pattern. There's no real BS on these guys. Yeah, they don't have any like really weird mechanics. He's annoying when he's two-handing because then his poise is like suddenly gone or whatever. But mostly it doesn't feel like it's super. You know, you kind of hit punch them. You have to learn the pattern, and yeah, they all feel kind of fair. I think the dancer one, this one, she's such a glass cannon that she's just too easy, I guess, yeah. Because all four of them are kind of similar, but she's just way too easy. Like she, like I said, one combo is like almost all her life points, right? And then you one more combo, she's dead, more or less. You can kill her before she gets the healing potion going on. So she just has she's just too glass cannony. So that's why I put her. Okay, so now we get into some of the more interesting bosses, I think. We have the Black Knights left though. I think that the Black Guy Knight are obvious. Yeah, they kind of like these guys. Honestly, I feel the human, these guys are kind of the same. They're also like, oh, we have a duel, you know, they kind of attack you. They got some cool abilities, they fly at you, they got some cool... and I think honestly all of these guys are basically the same. Death Knight, these are in the older basement dudes. They're pretty... Yeah, I think these guys are the fair fights, honestly. I think all of these guys are the fair dudes, right? So you get the Black Knight guys, which are like stronger kind of paladin dudes, right? With the big hammer or the twin blade, one of them. And they fly at you with some fate abilities, so you have to duel them, you can parry them, you can block them. And they don't have like crazy abilities, they also kind of lance attack, but they don't have some BS summoning of like 10 undeads or whatever. And they don't have any weird platform to fight them, so they're pretty straightforward, right? The Death Knights dudes are a little more, they're faster, ones that can fly at you, like a lightning thing. But again, these are basically like human guys with, you know, empowered magical abilities. So yeah, I think all of them are pretty like fair. They're not crazy powerful, and they're not too easy either. You have to learn the pattern, how to avoid them. That being said though, I think I killed this guy on attempt 1 as well. But it's kind of very similar, and I also killed, I think, both Black Knights first and two. So I won't say they're too hard though. Arguably, they're too easy. I would say they're too easy, arguably. But I still think it takes more effort to beat these guys than like the dragon. Because the dragon I think is very easy. The dragon, you run into it and you punch it in the leg and die. So yeah, I think the dragons are incredibly easy, right? I think these guys are harder than the dragon, but not by much perhaps. Yeah, because again, these guys are even easier. But whatever. What more do we have? I guess I put Curse Blade. Curse Blade is either in the free or in... I think he's put in here. He's kind of like he's like Death Knights. It's kind of the same thing. So now everyone, I think we are at the fun stuff right now. You know I waited for this thing. I didn't want to do it in the beginning because I want to be a little bit tricky here. But you know, now we get the fun stuff. Now we're getting the remembrance bosses right, most of them. I started with Bayle. I think it's a good example of bullshitting. But now we're gonna cover some of the more interesting bosses here, and this is where people are gonna get angry at me because I'm gonna call you out for being a noob. Start with the dragon then, for like story aspect here, and the dragon is actually pretty easy. Okay, GIT GUD. This is easy. Okay, if you die in the dragon, you're a noob. Okay. You know how I killed the dragon? I AFK'd. I summoned my Mimic, and my Mimic soloed him! I'm not even kidding. I was like, basically, my Mimic's like, you can do it, bro. I'm just gonna AFK over here and take some, drink some link. Yeah, super easy. Second time I faced the dragon, the divine dancing dragon thingy, he attacks me. I threw 2 fireballs at him because I saw that the ground was starting to turn dark. Then he summons undeads, right? This is the second lion. And all the undead just died immediately, and he died too. I was like, oh wait, that's it. Yeah, so I was like, something is happening. Bam, bam, bam. You know, I was just like, it's probably something happening on the ground here. Yeah, whatever. Throw some fireballs there. It is not hard. GIT GUD, get easy. I always say one thing though, to be fair. The dragon had the worst frame drop for me as well, right? The only boss really that I had frame drop losses on was really this Dancing Lion. Yeah, it's kind of honestly a little bad of them because this is the first real boss you probably get to, and he's also the worst boss performance-wise. That is true, and I will admit that a little bit. I think he's easy. I think people are overplaying how hard the dragon is, the Dancing Dragon is. Yeah, I think people are overplaying it, but I do agree on that he is a performance crasher though. He definitely has lower FPS on him by far, and no other boss had it, even if like Miquella someone looks way more graphical. So I don't know why the Dancing Dragon thing does so much, but he certainly had a very low FPS. That's why I kind of AFK'd and let my summoning beat him by himself. I was like, whatever, this is annoying to look at. But it is a really weird thing, and I didn't have an FPS drop when I was fighting the second Dancing Lion, so I wonder what that's up with that. But that is strange, and I have to say that to some extent, he's a little bit unfair BS because of a bug, basically, right? Like a performance bug or something. But I don't count that. That's not intended by a developer, right? But anyway, let's go on. What is more Git Good? Commander Gaius, Git Good, Git Good, okay? He's one spell and you kill him, okay? People are like, oh, this boar's impossible. With my Root Legionnaire build, we'll talk about more later, one spell, Scarlet or Ena, will defeat him, okay? You throw one spell in, this guy dies from one rot, basically. And, okay, you can't avoid his charge, but block it then, okay? It's supposed to be super easy, because the thing is that when you dot him up, right, he runs away from you, okay? So this is a very common thing in software games, say they in other software games, when the boss has a mount, and he's like, on his mount, right? What happens if you poison him or dot him with something else, you know, fire or a Scarlet rot, right? He's gonna die over here. When he's running around over here on his mount, right? Half his life is gone when he comes back. This boss is absurdly easy as long as you dot him. Yeah, it's like you just get real. You know, I'll talk about it more later with Radahan, but it's like freaking adapt. If this sword doesn't work, you know, change your weapon, you know. Radahan, change your sword, no sword. If this sword is failing you, change sword, okay? It's gonna be half my video now, but honestly, change your goddamn sword then. You know? I actually think that Radahan was very easy. I killed her in the first fight, but I will say she's fair, honestly. The thing is that even though I defeated her in the first attempt, which I did, honestly, she had a glass cannon, I still felt that she had a lot of cool abilities, and I kind of just felt, oh, I know how these carrion ladies are fighting, so it felt like I just kind of just knew what to do here, but I felt that she was like pretty fair, like, well, I'm just pretty good at fighting these, you know, magical chicks, you know. I married her, what is it, her niece, right? Yeah, I just know how these blue chicks work, you know. I know my way around blue waifus, so I was like, nah, it feels like she got a bunch of cool abilities, and I just felt that even if I smashed her attempt 1 right, I felt like, you know what, no, I felt I just did it perfectly. Like me, the player, I did it correctly. That's why it just worked. I didn't think she was pushovering it. But she's either a little bit almost too easy, perhaps. But anyway, so the Death Bird is interesting. Death Rite Bird of buff. It's not a redone boss then from the previous game. This boss is kind of bullshit because this boss isn't that hard, but it's a lot of mobs there, I guess. So here I died a few times, but I felt that I died the first time because you get hit by another bird in your back, right? And then you have to like, pull the boss away from the birds, and then he starts doing his darkness thing. This boss isn't very hard, but it's one of those annoying boss fights. Like, it's that open world boss thing, right? With a lot of ads on it. This is a really weird boss fight, way to put it on. But honestly, I think I'm gonna put Death Erdredd at unfair, yeah, because it's just like, it's kind of the same boss we had in the last game, but it has like 8 birds or something next to it, yeah, so you have to try to put it away. And I remember doing that, and then it went back again. He walks back. He has a very short range too of his aggro range. So this boss just feels like bullshit, because it's like, oh, he's surrounded by like so many ads. I think it's unfair actually. Otherwise, it is a boss fight if you fight him alone. But seriously, he's one of those bosses that has a lot of ads, right? And another boss fight with ads that is of course Ghost Flame Dragon. But I think the Ghost Flame Dragon is probably actually fair, okay? So I don't think that the Ghost Flame Dragon is particularly hard, right? It's like the other dragon isn't particularly hard either. You know, he has the same dragon abilities. But this dragon then, he will summon like a huge amount of undeads, right? After half his life or so is lost. Around 50%, I guess. Yeah, he gets triggered, and he summons a huge amount of undead. And now, you can either keep fighting him next to him, and the other will probably poke you and you will fall off your horse or whatever, right? You get killed, right? So it's quite annoying. You might call it unfair, but it's a big difference between him and the bird. Because the bird is just like, no, the bird doesn't summon undead. The bird has like 8 or 10 or whatever adds next to it. So you have to kind of put it between them or kill every bird before you fight him, and then you can kind of, you know. But this guy summons like 10 or so mobs by himself, right? So it's part of his encounter. It's a very different thing there, and it also means it's equal, right? Every time you get the same amount of undead after you, with the bird, it's very random how the boss spawns and what it puts with it. So it's completely random, right? What you get. So that's why that's unfair. But anyway, I don't think it's super hard anyway. But what I did is that, you know, I fight him as a normal dragon. I prefer fighting dragons on horseback, right? On torrent, versus on the ground. So when he summons the undead, I kind of move away from those. And then I let him kind of AoE them down, right? So he will hit his own undead with his different spells, right? So if you take it easy and play kind of safe, eventually they die. I did die here 2-3 times. The first time I was like, oh, happening. Oh, shit, suddenly it's like I'm getting stabbed by some undead skeleton and I fall off my horse, you know. But, so I died like 2-3 times or whatever, only the first, when I got there. Yeah, the first time I didn't know what was going to happen, of course. So I was like, what's happening? But, yeah, it feels like that's not too hard, right? You run away from them. Now, I see it's an issue on this list here. They were lacking the third one, or arguably the second one, which is when he has mobs with him. So it's another version where there's one other version where he's fighting these knights, right? Which is outside that castle, coming from the sides of the torrent, jumping over the mountain before the what's called before the ruins. You go into Bonnie village or whatever. So he fights the dragons there with like he's fighting a lot of ads. Same thing there. That fight is very similar to the undead summoning fight. You basically let those guys hurt him first, right? And you let him take them out with AoEs, and then you kind of fight him. That fight I would argue for is harder though than the actual undead fight. I think the game it has to be easier, but I would say it's harder because it's like sometimes they aggro you, the archers mostly, and then you have to kill them first. But overall, it's a pretty easy fight. You know, you kind of let him kill them first, you have to have some patience, and then you fight him, then it's normal dragon. So yeah, I think it's like somewhere here. Maybe he's like down here, but it's like a patient fight, you know, with all the ads, right? Now we got some of the crazy. Let's take the last dragon then. Senessax. This also feels fair. Yeah, I feel that is fair. That's just so you have the exact same dragon, right? Which I believe is like the sister or whatever, mom or there's some backstory to that, but yeah, they have almost the same name, right? So there's another dragon, which is the sister of the Lich Dragon, and this is like another sister, I think. So there are 2 sisters to the Lich Dragon, I believe. Basically, it's just an easier dragon than the Lich Dragon, but it's, I guess, a little harder than the other and its sister, right? Somewhere around there, but basically it's a lightning dragon with more lightning abilities, which is slightly harder than the Peak Drake, which is, you know, like basically this is like Lightning Dragon level 1, and this is level 2, right? Yeah, like it has more spells, it has fewer spells, and yeah, it's just basically like a harder one, but it doesn't feel unfair. It doesn't at all. You know, it's a dragon, so you know how it fights, and you have to go under it, and so it doesn't feel like it does any bullshit. It has no BS stuff really. It just has all the lightning spells, so. But it's not that hard either. I think it's like a perfect. I think it's really. This to me feels very accurate. This one is easy light dragon, hard light dragon, so to speak. But you know, not that hard, but like harder at least. Now I do see that this here is also missing the fight against 2 dragons, but that one is very easy, of course, when you have to fight 2 lightning dragons, whatever you call them, at the same time. It's like the same whatever lightning dragons, right? And they fight each other. And you can either just wait until they're both dead, kind of thing, almost, or you can go into it, and whatever, it's an easy fight. You have to just let them hit each other a bit, and you finish one of them off. Yeah. I don't know, that's a pretty easy fight too, right? Whatever, it's basically the same level as this fight. Okay, so now there's a few left here. let's talk about Scadutree. I think it's a pretty fair fight, honestly. This is actually probably one of my favorite fights in the game. I like fighting this tree. I died a few times, not like that many times, but the tree has 3 phases. You have to kill it 3 times, full life. Yeah, I have to. The other bosses will transform after they lose the life meter, right? This tree will go down to 0 life, then it transforms to a new full life again. So it's an interesting mechanic. But anyway, the tree isn't too hard. You got an interesting ability, which is basically in phase 3, it's like a timer thing that just explodes, right? So you have to fight it fast then. In phase 2, you start running around, and then I died once or twice. So I didn't die from that, but then it starts shooting at you for medicines. But what you have to learn, I would say, is you have to stand kind of like, next to the wall. So when it's running around in phase 2, you force it to turn around at the wall. Then you can punch it when it turns around. And then it ends there as well, so then you get like a combo on it. So it felt like a fight that isn't like too hard, but it's not too easy either. You have to kind of, like I said, you have to stand their positioning. You have to kind of understand where it will run or where it will like despawn, right? Because when it dies, then it comes back again and on top of you. So you can look in the water and see like the puddles, and then you have to of course avoid the puddles and understand where it will spawn and so on. So it's like, again, this feels like a good fair fight where you're like, you have to kind of understand the surrounding, and you have to stand the right positioning, and you have to kind of DPS it when it was in phase 3. It was, again, it's not like incredibly hard, but it's not incredibly easy either. It takes some skills, right? So I think it's a good example of a fair boss fight, where it's like, it requires some skills, but it doesn't require some absurd uber skills to defeat it. So this I feel is a good fair boss fight. Okay? And this I feel is also unfair, okay? Unfair boss. So, Metyr Knight is an interesting boss. He has this, like, I don't know, Klingon weapon, I guess. Yeah, it's the weapon from Star Trek. It's the one, the Klingon double glaive thing. We should get a bit toss it at you. It was around. And the goddamn horse appears, right, It's a really annoying fight. And honestly, Radahan is this as well, though, but I think this boss is probably the most early game boss that gets people's complaint about DLC, right? Which is that the bosses have too long turns, right? So in fighting games, Street Fighter, whatever, right? You talk about your turn and my turn. And for one reason, I didn't like Dragon Ball FighterZ that much. I loved it. I like the game a lot, but it has too long turns. Basically, when I am attacking you, and I'm in my combo, and I'm doing my assist, my summoning and so on, right? My turn just never ends, right? It's like 10 seconds of my turn, then you can finally counter me back. That isn't a very fun fighting game sample, that. A lot of bosses in this game, especially of course Radahan, but also Metyr Knight, again, he has very long turns, right? Because Metyr Knight is like an annoying fighting game character, where he does a combo to you, like bam, 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 and then the horse comes running too, right? So he's finally done with his combo. It's like combo, 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 combo. It's finally open. Then the horse comes for your back. So it's like, so you can't punch him anyway. So this boss fight, I don't think it's like super hard, but it's honestly a very unfair fight, because it is like a fighting game where your turn or his turn is too long. Because even then when he's open for a weakness boss, right? His companion, kind of like a fighting game, right? Assist fighting game, rather hits you also. So you're like, when am I supposed to attack him, right? Again, I don't actually think it's hard, because as long as you understand that, just like in a fighting game, when you understand that his turn is like freaking forever, but when you learn that, you just wait, then you punch it, You have to just learn that. You have to wait through his attacks and the horse, and then you can punch him, right? You have to wait for such a long time. As long as you do that, it's fine, but it doesn't feel inherent, it doesn't feel natural, and honestly, I don't think it's a very good gameplay experience, because he kind of breaks the game's strategy, right? Because every other boss doesn't have, he's like the only boss, there are 2 bosses, right? And this weird thing. It just seems really, really strange. And then he's also just jumps around all the time, and he's just really all over the place. He's a very weird boss. It doesn't feel fun at all, Metyr, I think this boss was very easy. I died there once, but it wasn't because the boss was like super easy. I was kind of amazed by his weird abilities. But I think I would put this boss in fair, okay? This feels like General Raula, So Metyr is this like hand monster, right? It's like the hand with hands and hands. You fight after you've done all the finger quests. So you have to go to Ymir and you do the 2 different Ymir quest lines. Then you go underneath there, you fight it, right? And you also have to fight Anna, I think her name is first before it. But it's a separate fight though. And then you get in there. And this boss fight is like... Yeah, it has a lot of this weird holy magic and it's flying. And it's kind of similar to Miquella in the last former field. When you get all these like weird lightning spells. But basically, they aren't like too hard to avoid. Eventually it does this gravity spell that Ymir says to you. That is like, does some kind of weird implosion damage, right? But I mean, all of that, again, it's not like super hard to avoid it. You just have to kind of understand it. It's kind of similar to like Raula, right? Full Moon Queen, of course, in the first game. We just heard like, you know, Twin Moon and like a sister Twin Moon thing and the moon lasers or whatever. You have to just avoid it, right? It's very... what I think is a good thing, honestly, with both and in this game, Rel Lalada, and not Renola, yeah, the other one, and Metyr then, is that they're very telegraphic, right? You know, I said earlier, but again, they're very telegraphic. These bosses are very much like, I am doing this giant beam attack. You have to avoid it, right? You can avoid it perfectly. So it's like, I feel they're pretty fair because, yeah, they have these huge spells and you can avoid it, and it's fine. Same thing we commented later about Miquella, Radahan and Miquella, that form phase 2 where it does like a holy explosive spell. Same thing there, you can easily run out of it, right? If you time it, you can look at the area where he's aiming, you can run out of it. So it feels like, you know, you have to just understand how the spell works. Not overly hard. I think that Metyr was pretty easy. But yeah, you understand how the spell works in the game. You can, I can avoid it. So that feels fair. And then we have the last 5 guys, obviously taking Radahan the last, of course we are. But yeah, so we have... I guess we go Midra first then. Midra, Lord of the Frenzied Flame. Honestly, this is also yet another fair fight. I would actually probably put Midra as... I'm gonna say that Midra is probably the best fair fight. I don't think Midra is like super easy. It is not like, oh yeah, push over... I'm just failing here, you know. It's like, oh, it's so super easy. Like it's not that easy. But Midra has a lot of spells, and you can kind of see how he's doing his combos, and he attacks you, and then like gets like a fire person afterwards. But everything he does, also, you similar to Metyr and so on, like I said, are telegraphed. It doesn't feel like it's all over the place. It's kind of like, I see what's happening here. I see what is going on. You know what I mean? Like, it's, yeah, it feels kind of like, okay, this is like pretty straightforward. They have some interesting combos. Yeah, this is probably, honestly, the best fight in the game, probably. Honestly, yeah, I think Midra probably is the best fight because he got really cool abilities. He's not like super easy. Maybe I died here 4 or 5 times. I didn't die that many times anyway, but you know, died a few times. He got cool abilities, like I said, and you have to kind of learn how they work. You can't just do it. You probably can win the first attempt, but it's kind of hard when he goes angry. So yeah, feel like a pretty good fight actually. I hated the enemies though. Let's be honest. Yeah, the eye guys though. Oh god, he has the worst area though by far. Yeah, you can't use the torrent and it's the actual rigging around and though is terrible. Of course it is. The actual abyssal woods are terrible. But now Mesmer, I have to say I honestly find him GIT GUD, guys. Okay, it's another GIT GUD, you noob. Okay, honestly, I think Mesmer is a pushover boss almost. Okay, so Mesmer actually not a very good boss fight in this game because the thing with Mesmer is that he's almost too easy. He disappointed me how easy it was. Maybe I had too much Scadutree when I got there, perhaps, because I don't know. But the thing with Mesmer is that his first phase is like really easy. He's like, oh yeah, I am Mesmer, and he jumps around with fire stuff. But it's so easy to avoid him. I never died in the first phase. And you can summon a companion, you can just summon, you can spirit, you can clone or whatever. But you can summon like Yollan, right, or someone else. Is it Anspach? Someone else. Is it Leda? You summon someone else with him. No, it's Leda. Whatever. Okay. You can summon someone at him. You got like 2 guys. You can fight him. It's fairly easy, right? And then he does this like, oh, I'm turning into my snake form or something. And that form is like super easy too. Like seriously. Like the first time I faced him, he got me with like weird fire, the Mesmer orb thing. So then I died. But then, okay, so the snake does this thing. The next time you avoid that, it leaves him so incredibly vulnerable. So Mesmer fight is honestly to me disappointing because it's way too easy. It's way, and I mean it. I'm not sitting here being like, oh, but no, I think it's way easy. Git good. It's a Git good too easy fight because he's like, he looks way cooler than he is supposed to be. He's way too much like the main character of the image of the frame, whatever. But when you fight him, it's like, again, the first phase is too easy. And he's very telegraphic. He's very larger than life. He spins around, you know. He's just like, fire! You know, he does like huge sweeps and everything. But when you avoid that, he's very, very vulnerable. Yeah, he's like a glass cannon boss kind of thing, right? So as long as you can just understand, avoid his first spear thing, you can get him in like one combo into his next phase. And then phase 2, the snake thing, after the snake misses you with that giant like Mesmer orb attack, the snake will lose like half his life points because you can combo it so easily, and then you avoid another like snake dive and then he's dead basically. It's like avoid twice and you win. Yeah, the guy is like, it's so incredibly vulnerable as we miss. He got like the longest cooldown from all the bosses. He's basically, you know, if he misses you, he's dead by himself. Yeah, he's like too much of a double edge guy. It's honestly, I found Master Fight disappointingly easy. Well, I didn't like Romina either, because Romina killed the first Tempter, but Master Fight is a bigger dude. I don't know, I think it's too easy. I think it's too easy. He's disappointing me. And now, of course, we have everyone's favorite boss, right? Radahan and Miquella. I feel like phase 2 is kind of like you find in Miquella more than Radahan. It's a lot of lightning beams and teleportation. So I do find it like phase 2, you know, when Miquella starts like fusing with Radahan or whatever. It is a 2 against 1. But anyway, is this fight? What is this fight? Is it too easy? Is it too hard? Is it passable? Well, first of all, I'm being very honest here about my Radahan review here, okay? The boss fight with Radahan and Miquella then, it of course isn't a free. You don't enter this fight and just insta kills the last boss without even trying, right? So honestly, to me, right, every boss down here are pushovers, and honestly, like I said, I don't mind like Demi-Human Queen Marigga being down here, but I do find it a failure honestly in the game design that like Romina is here. Because Romina seems to be somewhat lower important boss you can't avoid, right? Yet she's like one combo dead kind of lady. So no, that's a bad game design, but it's fine if like Lamenter and these like total losers are down there. So, you know, he's not there, of course. You won't enter this boss and just like one-shot him without even trying. Okay, let's be honest, that won't happen. So he's not there, but where is he here then? You know, in the real interesting part. He's here, of course. You know it! You know I'm gonna do this shit! You knew it! I'm gonna put him in Git Good! If you're facing Radahan and you're failing, you're a terrible player. No one says that. Git Good, guys. Well, the problem, right, and I get the problem here. I beat him in one attempt with my Scarlet Legionnaire build, right? And I was already playing my Scarlet Paladin build anyway, so I just changed my item, right? And the biggest problem is that this is basically how people are playing, you know, this game and what they're failing at. So they're going to Radahan, and they're like, I want to be a ninja, here's my katana, wee, you know. Then they get owned, right? And Radahan's like, bam, 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 and they get owned, right? You know, they get owned over and over again. And they go, I have died here for 5 hours, my katana is broken, right? You know what you can do? Drop that katana and bring out your Ansturpen Raper instead, right? Change your weaponry, and now instead, you could easily just poke him down with your Legionnaire, right? That is the problem, seriously. That people are only dying on Radahan, because the boss is very easy, but because they refuse to adapt, right? Put on the anti-holy stuff, put on the anti-fire stuff, or whatever, increase your stamina increase, get up your shield up, get the correct weapon, right? Get this sword instead of this sword, you know? Get your correct build, you know, and just own him, right? Or maybe it's this sword, maybe it's the Chinese dragon sword, you know, maybe this sword, right, you know, maybe this is the sword, you know what I mean? You have to get the correct sword, basically. Like, honestly, it is, people are acting like it's impossible, but let me tell you, I can bet you that 98% people say that he's too hard, they're still using the wrong sword. This is the right sword, this is the correct sword against him, right? This is a sword, this is literally how it looks. This is literally how it looks in the game, yeah. This is the sword you have to use against Radahan, then it's very easy. So the only thing I did right is that I first tried a few times with my Anvil Hammer build, right? My Rot Paladin and Hammer build. That didn't work, I got to the phase 2. One Scarlet Arena in phase 1 is dead immediately. And I was like, okay, it's pretty hard, but let's go with the dot build, right? So I exchanged my hammer into again then, right, my Scarlet sword, right? And then I died immediately. That's how easy it is. This boss is actually too easy. He's incredibly aggressive against you, but the problem that is that if you then have the Legionnaire build, right, where you can poke behind the shield, means you can just poke him constantly while he's attacking you. It actually makes him easier than Mesmer, like seriously, because he walks into your attack, right? He walks into your into your rot, right? So if you have a rot build or a bleeding build or whatever, a poison build, any dot build, right, with this like tanky dot build, he like walks into it. Like seriously. He is incredibly easy. It's a GIT GUD boss, right? It is funny, and I'm not making a joke here. I'm not like, GIT GUD, you suck. I beat him in like 30 minutes, you guys sucks. But seriously, I tried once with that build, with my Answurpen Blood Rot sword, and I already had, like I said, the Fate Strength build. I didn't even respec. I just changed my weapon, right? Yeah. Oh, he's dead. Like it wasn't harder than that. And I mean it genuinely. This boss is easy. One of the easiest bosses in the game. And the thing is that he's easier, actually, the more bosses in the game, as long as you have the right stuff, right, you know? But basically, Mesmer is harder than him, and Midra, for example. Now, like I said, I didn't struggle on Midra. I died like maybe 4 times, 5 times, right? But I died 0 times on him with my best build, yeah. I died like 2 times with my hammer build. Then I was like, nah, this doesn't work. I changed weapon. Okay, 0 times, you know, it's over, yeah. Like that is right. With Midra, I kept using my hammer until it died. And then I felt like, maybe I should change build, but I almost got it, you know what I mean? Like here's like, I have to think a little bit. Here I was like, oh, this build works. He's just countered by this build. Yeah, I was like, I don't care. Like, Radahan, for example, I would say, or actually Bayle, for anything, right? The Giant Dragon, like him, for example, when I use my Legionnaire build on Bayle, you can't block too much of his lightning spells, right? You can block them and take less damage, but you still take like piercing damage or whatever. So that requires more. And like I said though, the reason the Bayle is unfair is because you have to summon Egon inside. You don't have to, but you know, you are gonna summon Egon because you wanna finish the quests correctly, right? So you have to summon the guy in the fight, and he attacks you immediately if you enter the door. That's the problem with Bayle. Like I said earlier, yeah, Jesus Christ, it's so unfair. Like, the guy immediately strikes you when you're trying to summon the loser guy. Yeah, that's the problem with that boss. But still, I mean, you have to at least avoid him some more. Because if you have a defense tank build against Bayle, you have to say the rolling and you have to avoid and so on. But if you have a tanky build against Radahan, you don't even have to roll. You don't even have to roll shit. You can roll, you know, his hug, the Miquella, like, charm attack. But if you have the broken rune, you can just remove it. I also put it in GIT GUD because, I mean, it's your own fault, right? It's your own fault for not doing the quest correctly, right? It's your fault, you, the player's fault, for not correctly doing the quest line. Like, why don't you have the anti-immunity? Why don't you have Marika's holy immunity thing, or immunity, but holy reduction thing? Why don't you have it for you? I mean, it's your own fault for not having the correct items, right? So basically, if he's hug you, that's just a benefit for you, because yeah, your ally will damage him a few times, right? And then you can just remove it and you can hit. So again, GIT GUD feel to it, because it's like, why don't you have the correct items? I mean, like I said, why don't you have the correct items, the correct solution against the boss, right? Which the game very clearly gives you to play the game storyline. The game will give you the items, and then you know you can counter him. So I feel like a lot of that stuff is also a thing people complain about, the hardness of a boss, right? Because it's like, well, yeah, of course the boss is harder if you ignore the quest line, if you didn't do the quests correctly. And that quest is pretty straightforward. But if you ignore it, yeah, of course it's harder now because you don't have the right items. But that's your own fault. You know, you're not prepared. Like, why did you go here without getting the correct quest line? Same thing with fragments. I didn't have 20 fragments when I beat the boss. But same thing there. It's like, if you come to the last boss, you have like 10 fragments. Well, yeah, that is going to be really hard because, like, sure, you have few fragments, but it's probably enough if you have like 15. I don't know exactly, but I didn't have all of them. I had like 17, I think. Whatever. You can point. I didn't have 20, but I was close to it. My point is that you don't need that either, right? You don't need it either. But if you have like 10 or something, or even lower, yeah, that's kind of weird. Like, have you skipped over the whole game? Obviously, if you're speedrunning it, is one thing. But I mean, if you're just playing it casually, you're just playing through the game, right, getting all the bosses, you could probably find most of the fragments. You probably get to at least like level 10 or something without even trying, right? Then you have to kind of figure out some of them are a little bit quest liney, and you have to open some weird stuff and so on, or jump down. I found that one, we have to jump down to get the twin blade, Euphoria, yeah, you have to jump down to get that one. And it's like a Marigga statue with a cloth over. That's why you have to jump down the whole castle, the last castle. You have to do like 15 jumps in the castle. That one, for example, you have to really be like, where the hell is this thing? But I saw that actually by myself. I saw it by myself because you enter that staircase, right, where you get a summoning spells all the time. And I saw to the left that you could jump down there. And basically, I always just jump down, right? When I play this game, and all the Souls games, or whatever, Sekiro, every time I see a platform, oh, what's down there? I can jump to it, you know? So I found it myself, the Euphoria. It wasn't that complicated. Because honestly, the game does it pretty well, I think, because the game's level design usually is an item, right? So if you look down from that staircase before Miquella, you will see like a little blue thing, you know, shining, right? A body. Jump to that body. You see another one down there. Jump to that body. You see another one. Jump to that. Now you're in this weird like angle of like some kind of broken bridges. There's like, well, I probably will find something. So you have to, but then you eventually get the last fragment and also again this weapon, right? This twin blade weapon. But I mean, yeah, I liked it in the game aside of the level design because even if it's not really clear exactly what you will get down there, the game is telling you to jump down there in the hole, you know. The game is like, here's something here, yeah. So you have to keep doing it. I don't think it's that hard to find actually, but certainly some Scadutree I have missed myself too, and I haven't bothered going and finding them. But the same thing applies there, right? If I got to the last boss and I couldn't beat him, if I was like, this boss is impossible, this boss is just insane, I can't beat Radahan, he's so broken, and I had, let's say, 15, right, or 14, whatever, fragments, something that's probably where you'll probably be at, then I'll be like, okay, I have to go and look at the guide and find all of them or something. That's also one way to do it too, right, you know, also get good, like, go back and then get all the items. I didn't bother doing that, but if you really can't beat the boss, yeah, why aren't you doing that? Because that's something I don't get people either, honestly. I think a lot of people, they get to a boss and they just keep trying that boss. I don't do that, you know, in Sekiro either, so on. If I get to the boss that I feel it's really, really impossible, like, oh my god, the boss is so hard, then I'm instead gonna keep exploring, right? And I don't, the only boss that I did, and I really mean it in this game, the only boss when I played this game where I felt, oh, the boss is bullshit, I'm just gonna go and explore instead, that was the Putrick Knight, you know. This guy is just, yeah, crazy annoying. Talk about it's just super jumping around, the horse annoying you. But like I said, this also is a boring fight, right? Yeah, I think that this is probably the worst, most boring fight in the game. It's tedious, like I said, it really has a fighting game feel to it, where you're fighting a super quick character in the fighting game that has 50 hits combo, and you're like, for the love of God, when is my turn to move, right? Yeah. So when I went down there and I died the first time, I was like, oh my god, this boss is super annoying. He jumps around all the time, it's super boring, I don't want to do this boss. So then I just went, you know, and explored, and I returned with like 5 or 6 more fragments and just owned him, right, you know. So I don't get it either, people. People are stuck on a boss for 10 hours, right? And I'm just like, but you only have level 5-3, you can go and get like 10 more levels, right? Honestly, this boss here, for example, I think a lot of people will get stuck, right, on the Putus at night. But why are you doing it if you have too low of 3 level, right? You can go and get more, or get another boss, right? Yeah, like, it's, you don't have to stand there and just keep dying. I think that's like a really weird issue people have, honestly, is that they get to a boss, like I said, right, and they die on it, and they keep dying on it, but why do you keep trying the boss on your current level, right? Even more so in the OG Elden Ring, where you actually just had levels. Of course, in that game, if you're stuck on a boss, you can leave, and you can go and, you know, explore the area, and come back, right, 20 levels higher, and then the boss will be easier, you know. Why, instead of just keep dying on the same boss for like 10 hours, go and explore 10 hours, find 10 more items, and get more levels, right? Same thing here, little less because the tree fragment, but still, you can go and explore for a day instead, right? And then come back. So I really hated this boss fight, right? Obviously, it's up here on top because I hated the boss fight, not because it's hard, but because I hated it. It's so boring, right? So I didn't want to do it. After I died once, I was like, screw this boss fight. This boss is terrible. 0 out of 10 fun. I'd rather than go and explore, right, for 1 or 2 days. And I come back, like I said, with like 10 or whatever more fragments, and now I like one-shot him, right, because I'm so much stronger, and then I can skip that annoying boss fight. I mean, seriously, why do people keep dying on these bosses over and over? You keep doing shit. Why don't you use instead? It's like, okay, whatever. This boss, I don't have to kill it right now. I'm gonna go and explore, right, and enjoy the game more, and then I come back, and then I'm just so much stronger that I can basically just own the boss immediately, right? And you know, and then I don't have to deal with this tedious, annoying boss fight, right? Lastly, though, and I want to say it here, though, I do find Radahan, like he's saying, a complete joke as a boss fight. It's so easy if you have the correct Legionnaire build, guys. It's so easy, right? But that being said, I will agree that Radahan isn't actually a very good boss fight, right? He's very easy. I really think he's very, very easy. Get good, noob! But the problem, of course, is that, like I said earlier, people refuse to change build, right? And that's why they keep dying. Change build, and it's super easy, right? However, that being said, I do agree that it isn't a good boss fight, right? Because I don't think that a boss fight should force you to play in a certain way. I think a boss fight should allow you to have many options possible, right? Preferably. Obviously, some builds just won't work because every build isn't equal, right? But Radahan is, again, a very easy boss fight with the correct build, but as basically every other build is terrible on him. So it's like a really weird thing is, I'm playing again, Rot Paladin, right? Rot Legionnaire, and that is super easy. But if you don't play that, then it's like super hard, of course. If you play a squishy caster build, it's like impossible. So I do agree with that in a sense, though. Radahan is like almost impossible with the wrong build, right? And that is not true for any other boss in the game. For the other bosses, you certainly have better or worse builds, absolutely. But I think you can probably beat almost every boss with any other build. That being said, obviously I'm talking about like correct builds here. I'm not saying running around with, 99 endurance, you get a point. Like, I mean, I'm talking real builds here. Ninja, like real builds, full-on ninja, full-on dragon, blah, blah. I'm talking real builds, not like some random bullshit, but actual builds, right? It is very fair, though, to say that Radahan is a bad boss fight because, yeah, if you have the correct build, then it's easy. But if you don't have that, it's almost impossible, right? It's like I mentioned, especially glass cannon builds, right, are basically impossible on him. Not all of them. You have some of them that can like one-shot him, but the classic like wizard build, like around far range spell casting, you will get crushed in phase 2 immediately, right? There are different monk and ninja builds and so on. And I think that's a mistake, of course, by the game, seriously, because you can play this like martial art monk build. I also tried to play the double backhand. You have one of those like circle sort of, you can jump around really fast and so on. Those builds are really fun, right? Kind of martial art, assassin build, whatever. And they work on like every boss in the game, except Radahan. Yeah, so I do agree with that. Radahan is like, it is a little bit like, it's a weird boss. It is a weird boss, like I said, where some of the builds are incredibly OP on him, and then the other builds are like, oh, this doesn't work anymore. But what happens, of course, then, right, like I said, is that people get stuck on that, because they have to beat him with their, like, monk fist build. Yeah, they have to beat him with my drunken fist play, right? They get stuck on that, and they refuse to change weapon, and then they die there for like 20 hours, and they're like, oh, this game is the worst game ever. But it also could be because you refuse to change weapon. Because you refuse to change playing weapon. And I think to some extent, the player shouldn't be able to use any build either. So I'm a little bit torn on it, honestly, because I don't think the player should be able to use any weapon they want, just kill any boss they want, because that's stupid as well. I think that's also dumb. You shouldn't be able to just easily overcome every boss with, the same exact build. That's not fun, right? I had my rot build the whole game, but I kept changing it depending on the boss, right? I kept changing my weapon. I have 2, 3, 4 different weapons I use, right? And I different shields and so on. So I kept adapting it, and I kept changing my talisman depending on what boss I faced. Oh, it's Mesmer, he got fire. Then I put on the fire resistance, right? Oh, it's Radahan, he got fire and holy. I put on a holy shield, right? So I kept changing like what I had and so on a little bit. And I think that's how the game should be played, right? You can't just go in there and have the exact same gear and build for every boss. That shouldn't work. But anyway, guys, see you guys and have a great day.